fast, rather they deprive your fast of spiritual blessings and benefits. So inshallah, today I will be talking a little bit more on the practical side of what you can and cannot do whilst you're fasting, inshallah. Firstly, regarding eating or drinking forgetfully. Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he has narrated that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said that the fasting person who eats or drinks forgetfully has to complete his fast, because it is Allah Azza wa Jalla who has fed him. What does this mean? That if a person whilst he is fasting, he eats or he drinks forgetfully, this doesn't mean that his fast invalidates itself. Rather, he has to finish keeping the fast, because Allah Azza wa Jalla has fed him. He must carry on his fast as usual. Now some points about things that do not invalidate the fast. Could you turn the echo off, please, Rizal? Things that do not invalidate the fast. Number one, eating, drinking, or completing marital relationships forgetfully, these will not invalidate the fast. Whether this fast of theirs is a fard or a nafil one, either way it won't be invalidated. Number two, if someone sees a fasting person do any such acts, i.e. things that would invalidate the fast, then it is wajib upon the person who sees this person doing such things to remind the fasting person. Remind them that they are fasting. Because if he does not remind them, then he will be a sinner. Third one, it's wajib upon you to remind that person that they are fasting, else you would be a sinner. In case of not eating the food which he is eating forgetfully, because of being reminded, and not to remind him. So he's saying here that if the person who is eating forgetfully, if he's eating forgetfully but he's a weak person, i.e. without eating that food, if the person looking at that person who's eating, if he thinks this person's weak, if he doesn't eat this food, then he won't be able to complete his fast, then it is better not to remind him. Some respected scholars, rahimahumullah ta'ala, they have said that if the fasting person is a young person, then one should remind him. But if that person who is eating forgetfully is old, then there is no harm in not reminding him. But this rule is based on the fact of weakness and strength. And this is generally due to the fact that the young are weaker, the young are stronger than the old. But in fact, the scholars then say, in fact, this ruling has nothing to do with old age and young age. Instead, it applies on the basis of strength and weakness. In other words, if a young man is too weak, then it is better not to remind him. But if a man who is old is strong enough to complete his fast, then if you see them eating forgetfully, then you have to remind them that they are fasting. Number 5, if a fly, if dust or smoke goes down the throat, then the fast will not become invalid, even if one was aware that he's fasting. There's two things here. Number 1, that a person is aware that he's fasting or he forgets that he's fasting. And number 2, if the person does an action deliberately or unintentionally. Here he's talking about if a fly, if dust or smoke goes down your throat unintentionally, but you are aware that you are fasting, then your fast will not be invalidated. Even if one was aware that he was fasting, whether it is flour blowing up whilst being grinded in the grindstone or sieved, or it is the dust of grain or dust that is blown by the wind or the hoof of animals, the fast will not become invalid if the dust goes down the throat in the aforementioned cases. Similarly, if the car or bus exhaust fumes or smoke reaches the throat, it will not invalidate the fast, even if one was aware that he was fasting. Number 7. If the smoke of a burning incense stick enters the nose, then the fast will not be invalidated. However, if one takes his nose closer to the burning incense or frankincense deliberately to inhale that smoke, then, bearing in mind he was aware that he was fasting, then his fast will become invalid. So if you smell incense, if you smell athar, just normally, then it would not invalidate the fast. However, if you have a burning incense stick and the smoke comes out of it and you go close to it and inhale it on purpose, then it invalidates the fast. It talks about treating the heat of the body by placing a pierced horn over the area of pain, massaging oil applying kohol into the eyes or kajal into the eyes, this will not invalidate the fast. I talked about this last week as well. Even if the taste of oil or kohol is in the throat, or even if the color of the kajal or the kohol appears in the saliva. In both cases, the fast will not be invalid. Number 9. Fast will not be invalid in the case of feeling coolness of water inside the body after taking the bath. There's a misconception. It's not as relevant today, but some people hold the misconception that if you go for a bath and if you feel some sort of coolness on your body, then this invalidates your fast. But it's written in Fatawa Alamgiri that that's not the case. Number 10. Many people, we talked about last week, many people keep on spitting out, with the misconception of the fact that if you have saliva in your mouth and you swallow it, then your fast will be invalidated. That's not the case. It says if one rinses the mouth with water and then spits out the water completely, whether that is in the morning, whether that is to perform wudu, then just a little wetness has remained in the mouth, so you've taken everything out, but a little bit remains, then swallowing this wetness with the saliva will not invalidate the fast. And it also says that the fast will not be invalid even if the taste of medicine being crushed is felt in the throat. So if someone is crushing medicine, then and if the particles, they go into the throat and you can taste it, then the fast will not be invalid. This has been written in Raddul Muhtar. The fast will not be invalid even if water enters the ear or if one pours it in deliberately. Number 13, inserting a splinter into the ear to itch, it does not invalidate the fast, or putting cotton buds into the ear to clean them, this also does not invalidate the fast. Now there's certain rules regarding if there's food in your mouth whilst you are fasting. Say for example, the time for sahri has ended and the time for the fast has begun, and you've got a little bit of food in your mouth, Now unintentionally if you swallow it, then what happens? So we'll cover this now inshallah. It says that if a tiny particle was in the mouth or was stuck between the teeth and it goes down the throat with saliva, then the fast will not become invalid. The fast will not become invalid if it is a small particle. Now the size of this particle has been related to as the size of a chickpea. So it's been said that if you have, say for example, if you have a chickpea in your mouth or some food morsel bigger than a chickpea, and if you take it out, then eat it, then it invalidates your fast. However, if you swallow it in your mouth, then your fast will also be invalid. So either way, if it's the size of a chickpea or bigger, then either way, if it goes down your throat, then your fast will become invalid. However, if it is smaller than a chickpea, if you take it out, then eat it again, then that would invalidate your fast. But if it's smaller than a chickpea and it goes down with the saliva, and taste is felt, then it would invalidate the fast. If taste is not felt and it goes down with the saliva, then your fast will not be invalid. You can carry on fasting. So that's the case of if it's bigger than a chickpea and you take it out, or if it goes down your throat, then it's invalid. And if it's smaller than a chickpea and it goes down your throat and taste is felt, then your fast will be invalid. Now, if it's in your mouth and it goes down the throat without saliva, not with saliva, like you're not swallowing normally, you deliberately eat it, not naturally with saliva, then your fast will also be broken. So there's different cases, inshallah you'll get the notes for today, there's different cases regarding the amount of food in your mouth and what happens when you're fasting, and whether it breaks your fast or not. If the gums bleed and blood reaches the throat but does not go down the throat, then the fast will not be invalid in this case. So if someone is bleeding and it goes down the throat, if someone is bleeding but the blood does not go down the throat, then the fast is not invalid. Swallowing a fly unintentionally will not invalidate the fast, but swallowing it deliberately, this will invalidate the fast. If someone eats food or drinks water forgetfully, but then he spits out the food or water from the mouth as soon as he recalls the fast, then his fast will not become invalid. However, if he swallows a morsel of food or water that was in his mouth, despite recalling the fast, then the fast will become invalid. So going back to the example, say for example, I see someone who is fasting, eating forgetfully, and I remind him that you are fasting, then he is not allowed, his fast will become invalid if he swallows that food or water that's in his mouth, after I've already told him that he's fasting. However, so his fast will become invalid if he swallows that or drinks the rest of it. He has to take it out straight away. If he takes it out straight away, as soon as he recalls that he's fasting, then the fast will not become invalid. Now, regarding the time of Sahri, if a person who is eating before dawn spits out everything in his mouth as soon as the time for Sahri ends, then his fast will not become invalid. But if he swallows the food that was in his mouth at the time that Sahri has ended and the fast has begun, if he's already got food in his mouth and then he swallows it, then his fast will become invalid. It says here that backbiting does not invalidate the fast. However, backbiting is a major sin. The Holy Quran refers to backbiting as eating one dead brother's flesh, and a hadith states that backbiting is worse than even fornication. This has been written in At-Targhib wa Tarhib. Regarding this, Imam Ghazali says, Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Holy Quran, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, وَلَا يَغْتَبْ بَعْضُكُمْ بَعْدًا أَيُحِبُّ أَحَدُكُمْ أَن يَأْكُلَ لَحْمَ أَخِيهِ مَيْتًا فَخَرِحْتُمُوهُ. That Almighty Allah says in the Holy Quran, and let not some of you backbite others. Would any of you like to eat the flesh of his dead brother? Surely you would despise that. So Allah Azza wa Jal, over here in the Holy Quran, He's likening backbiting to eating the dead flesh of a brother. Allahu Akbar. So Imam Ghazali carries on saying, indeed Allah likens you, i.e. the backbiter, to one eating the flesh of the dead. How appropriate is it then for you to be on your guard against such a thing, i.e. you should safeguard yourself from such a thing. There is a matter which would stop you from backbiting against Muslims, were you to ponder it. Imam Ghazali says, first of all, turn to yourself and consider, before backbiting, turn to yourself and consider, is there no flaw in me, apparent or hidden? Am I not committing any of the acts of disobedience, open or hidden, that this person I'm accusing this person of doing? If you know this to be about yourself, Imam Ghazali says, if you look within yourself and see the same fault in yourself, know that also the other person's inability to free himself from what you have ascribed to him is that the same of you. I.e. the fact that you are unable to free yourself from that fault, likewise he was unable to. So before accusing anyone of anything, before backbiting regarding anyone's faults, look within yourself. And if you find a fault within yourself, remember, his inability to correct his fault is the same as your inability to correct your fault. He then carries on saying, his excuse is the same as yours. I say, for example, if I say, person X, he doesn't go to pray namaz 5 times a day at the mosque. But then Imam Ghazali, following the instructions of Imam Ghazali, I say to myself, I look within myself, I say, I'm not able to go pray namaz 5 times during the day at mosque with Jama'at, because I'm at school, I'm at mosque. These are all excuses, yes? These are the reasons as to why I cannot pray. So Imam Ghazali says, look within yourself. If you find the fault within yourself, know that your excuses might be the same as that person. Before backbiting about someone, know that your excuses might be the same about someone else. So that's regarding backbiting. It does not invalidate the fast, but it is a major sin. And we talked about backbiting. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that fasting acts as a shield. But if this shield is broken, then a person is deprived of their blessings and barakah within their fast. And a companion asked, how is the shield torn? And he said, through certain acts, makruh acts, and backbiting was one of them. Number 20, it says, being in the state of major impurity, i.e. junub, when taking ritual bath is obligatory, or even spending the whole day in this impure state, technically it will not invalidate the fast. However, remaining in this state deliberately and missing salah is a sin and haram. A hadith states that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the angels of mercy do not enter the house in which there is a junub, a ritually impure person. So cleanliness, remember, cleanliness is half of faith. You should always ensure, especially whilst fasting, you should always ensure that you are in a pure state. Because if you are fasting, automatically you pray more namaz, automatically you do more dhikr, you pray Quran. But if you're not in a clean state, then it's all worthless. So you must ensure that your cleanliness, first of all, is correct. Number 21. If someone chews invalid, however, the fast will be invalid if the taste is felt in the throat. Remember, if the morsel of food is left 22, swallowing saliva or phlegm of the mouth will not invalidate the fast, stated in Radd al-Muhtar. Now, there are certain circumstances where a person is exempt from fasting, where persons in which a person is allowed to miss her or his fasts. The fasts, these missed fasts, are not forgiven due to these after being relieved of the specific compulsions. Even so, there will be no sin in case of missing the fast due to any valid Shar'i condition, as fasts include traveling, pregnancy, the feeding of a baby, sickness if a person is sick. We'll talk about this later on. Not sick, not a minor illness, major illness. Old age, fear of being killed, or the threat of being killed, or that the person making the threat will act upon it if he does not break his fast, then it is a valid Shar'i compulsion for that person to miss his fast, and the loss of wisdom and jihad as well. If somebody does not fast on account of the aforementioned reasons, he will not be regarded a sinner. It is also permissible to miss a fast whilst one is traveling. Whilst a person is traveling, you are allowed to miss your fast. You have the choice. Keep the distance of journey in mind. According to the research of Imam Ahl Sunnat wal Jama'at, Imam Ala Hadrat, Rahmatullahi Ta'ala, he says that the distance for a person, according to Islam anyway, the distance for a journey is 57.5 miles. Almost 90 traveling for the above mentioned distance, he will be regarded as a traveler. By Sharia, he can miss the fasts and make up for it later, and he has to offer salah with qasr. A traveler, remember this, when a person is traveling, it is wajib salah. If he does not do this, then it is a sin for him to do so. If someone is unaware of this ruling and offers to repeat it again. If Allah Azza wa Jal, subhanAllah, look at the beauty of the Islam. Allah Azza wa Jal, when a person is on a journey, Allah Azza wa Jal, he orders that person to pray qasr salah. And if he doesn't pray qasr salah, Allah Azza wa Jal, he orders them to repeat it. Allah Azza wa Jal, when he makes something easy for us, we should take it, because this is indeed a blessing from Allah Azza wa Jal. So if a person is unaware of this ruling and prays 4 rakat, and then he is aware, then he has to repeat this. Now back to the illness. If someone is allowed to miss his fast in this case, unfortunately, we see many people today, they miss their fasts, or Allah Azza wa Jal forbid, even break their fasts, having started them due to small illnesses like minor colds or fever and headaches. One should never do so. If someone misses a single fast without a valid exemption, he will not be able to regain its blessings even if he was to fast the rest of his entire life. The blessings and barakah a person receives whilst fasting in the holy month of Ramadan, one fast. If a person misses one fast of Ramadan without a valid Shar'i compulsion, then even if that person was to fast the entire rest of his life, he would not be able to gain the same blessings and barakah of that one fast in the holy month of Ramadan. Now, regarding illnesses, it has to be a severe illness and it's dealt on a subjective basis, on a case-to-case basis. It's different for each person. For example, there was a case where he wasn't to take those medicines, then then blood clots would begin to form. And it was dangerous for him to fast. So honestly, it was subjective. Hence, I asked my Maulana, and he said that in this case, you have to pay fidya compensation. And the rule for fidya is that it has to be given to Muslim, miskin, needy people. Now, there's a certain measurement given of a certain amount of of dates, flour, etc., wheat. But because it is hard to do so nowadays, the calculation came to around £3 a day for a fast. So in the holy month of Ramadan, a person would pay £90 fidya if a person is severely ill. But this, you can't make the decision on your own. You have to see someone. And that person, that Maulana or that Mufti, he would decide that whether it is a valid Shar'i reason for you not to fast or not. And if you are unable to fast, then that person has to pay fidya. Now this fidya, it doesn't have to be given every day. So on day 1 you have to give fidya, day 2, etc., It could be given all at once. And it has been said that it's preferred to give this fidya before the start of Ramadan al-Mubarak. But there is one condition, you have to give it to Muslim miskin people. That's the condition. Now the choice of whether to fast, Siddiqa radiallahu ta'ala anha, she has said that Sayyidina Hamza bin Amr Aslami radiallahu anhu, he used to fast in abundance. He asked the beloved Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, shall I fast during journey? his choice whether or not to fast. Sayyidina Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiallahu on the 16th of Ramadan, so in the holy month of Ramadan, everyone was fasting during the holy month of Ramadan. But on the 16th of Ramadan, they set out for jihad. Then what did he say? He said, some of us fasted because of the choice. He said, some of us fasted, whereas some didn't. He says, those who fasted didn't object to those who didn't fast, and vice versa. I.e., if a person is on a journey, they have the choice of whether or not to fast. And Sayyidina Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, he says, when we went out for jihad, there were two groups of people. Some people fasted, some people didn't, because they had the choice. But they did not contradict one another. They did not object to one another's reasonings and outcomes, whether or not to fast. Now, some points. I won't do all the points, inshallah. I'll cover a few important ones. Some points about exemptions for not having a fast. It's been said that if a traveler and his companion, i.e. someone else who is traveling with this person, if they do not suffer any harm in case of fasting, it is preferable to fast during the journey. But if either of them or both of them will suffer due to this fast, then it is better not to fast. If a traveler becomes a resident, as per the Shari'i definition of resident, before Dahwa Kubra, i.e. the Shari'i midday, and he hasn't eaten or drunk anything as of yet, then it is wajib for him to make the intention of fast. This is before the Shari'i midday. If a person is on a journey and he reaches his destination and he's going to be a resident there, if he is, as per the Sharia, a resident in that location and he's not eaten anything before the Shari'i midday, then it is wajib upon this person to make the intention of fast and finish his fast. Let's say, for example, he gives an example over here. Let's say, for example, someone lives in Hyderabad. He leaves for Bab al-Madinah, Karachi, to head for Hyderabad and arrives there at 10 a.m., i.e. before the Shari'i midday, Dahwa Kubra. If he has not eaten anything since dawn during the journey, it is wajib for him to make the intention of the fast. If somebody, however, if he sets out a journey at daytime, he cannot break that day's fast. So if I was in the holy month of Ramadan, if I did my sahri at home and I started my fast, paying expiation, kafara, and another started on a journey, I'm not allowed to break my roza. But if I did, then I would not have to pay expiation, rather I would have to do qada of that fast. I would have to repeat that fast. If somebody breaks fast before he sets out on his journey and then he begins his journey, then expiation will be mandatory for him, provided that the conditions for expiation are met. One last thing, inshallah, regarding being invited to a dawat, being invited as a guest to someone's house. What is the legal ruling of fasting when being invited to a person's house? So, first of all, if somebody starts a nafil fast deliberately, it is wajib for him to complete this. If he breaks it, he will have to make up for it. This is on the condition that he has not got a valid Shari'i compulsion. Now what is that? It says, first of all, that if it is not permissible to break a nafil fast without a valid exemption. What are these valid exemptions? If a guest feels resentment due to the host not eating with him, or if a host feels resentment due to the guest not eating with the host, then it is a valid exemption for breaking a nafil fast. A nafil fast, not a fard fast. Fard fast cannot be broken. A nafil fast, if you are a guest at someone's house, or you have a guest at your house, and one or the other feels resentment by you not eating certain circumstance, it is in the case of parents' displeasure. If your parents, say I am fasting and my parents said to me, after the Kubra, after the Shari'i midday, that you look weak, it is not, we don't want you to finish the fast, then only in this case, you are allowed to break your nafil fast. One can break his fast any time before Asr. So the condition of Dahwa Kubra is not applied over here. Rather, it has to be before Asr. A person cannot break the nafil fast even if his parents are displeased with it after Asr. You can only break it before Asr in this case. Inshallah, we will end there. There's a few more points regarding valid exemptions from not keeping fast. Inshallah, the notes should be handed out soon. so you can read through those inshallah. I would like to thank everyone for their attendance all these weeks. I pray that Allah Azza wa Jal accepts all of your attendance. I pray that Allah Azza wa Jal allows us to take heed from this, so that fasting and so that Islam itself isn't something that we just turn to at a time of need or in the holy month of Ramadan. I pray that Allah Azza wa Jal allows these sessions to be a means for our gainness of closeness to Allah Azza wa Jal. And I pray that Allah Azza wa Jal allows us to reform our Ramadan this month from the year before. I pray that Allah Azza wa Jal grants tawfiq for us to all act upon what has been said. I pray that Allah Azza wa Jal forgives me for any mistakes I have made. I would like to thank, first of all, Masjid Raza and Nurani Education Center for allowing these premises to be used and for supporting me. I pray that Allah Azza wa Jal grants them with even more blessings and barakah. I would also like to thank Sunni Dawat Islami for providing me with this platform. I pray that Allah Azza wa Jal increases them in blessings and barakah in all the work that they do, and I pray that Allah Azza wa Jal accepts all the work that they do. Ameen. Inshallah, Maulana, do you want to say a few words? Inshallah. Do you want to speak as well? Inshallah, I'm hoping everyone will join in. Inshallah. Sallallahu alayka ya
رسول الله يا حبيب الله يا رسولك يا حبيب الله عليك يا رسول الله وسلم عليك يا حبيب مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم يوم الله creation that you have created alhamdulillah munshil khalqi min adamikum salatu ala muhtari مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك shining sun, Allah He made them all just for you. चाँद झुके जाता जिधर उंगली उठाते अहद में क्या चलता था इशारों पर खिलौना नूर का अर्ज़ No one like you there is no one who's the same song sing for is your nature so hard is your name lam yatim nadiruka fi nadarin lam yatim nadiruka fi nadarin misli tunshud पैदा जाना जग राज को ताज तुझे सरसों है तुझको शहे दूसरा जाना अल-बहरो अला अल-मौजुदा बन बेकसुतो का मशरूबा मजदा को बिगड़ी है हवा मोरी मैया पार लगा जाना आतश वसफ़ाक़त कैसुए फाके अब्र करम दरसन हारे रिम झिम दूध इधर बिगड़ा जाना रोह फिदा का फज़िद फ़ाका यक शोहरत दर दर सर इश्क़ और तन सब फूक दिया और तन सब फूक दिया और ये चाँद भी प्यार चला जाला अल खुशी जो हम खुशी जो दिल ज़ाहर चुना जा ज़ेर चुनो पत अपनी विपत में कासे कहो पूरा को अलग तेरे सिवा जाना मैं खा मैं नबाए रज़ान तरज़ मेरी गए रंग के मेरा इरशाद लगे बात का चार सलाम बरा जाना सारी दुनिया गाती है खैरात मदीने की में मुस्तफा जिसके सीने में है वो कहीं भी रहे वो मदीने में है अपनी महफिल में है जलवा अपनी महफिल में है जलवा तो समझ लोगे तेरी चालियों के नीचे तेरी रहमतों के साए जिस देखनी हो जन्नत हो मदीना देख आए मैं लब खुशा नहीं हो और मेरे इल्ती चाहो हरम के आताब जानता हूँ ये रोशनी सी क्या है खुशबू कहाँ से आई शायद में चलते चलते रोज़े तक आ गया मेरा दिल तड़प रहा है मेरा जल रहा है सीना की दवा वही मुझ में चलो पल कहीं है, तेरी बात करते करते तेरे शरण में आओ, तेरी बात पढ़ते पढ़ते एक रोज होगा जाना सरकार की गली में होगा ये ठिकाना, सरकार की गली में बुला लो फिर मुझे जैसा मदीने में रोता तेरे दर पर मदीने में दौलत दे न शोहरत दे मुझे बस ये सआदत दे तेरे कदमों में मर जाऊं मैं रो रो कर मदीने में। There is no Allah, there is no one who's the same, so merciful is your nature and so high is your name, तेरे सदके में आका सारे जहां को दीन मिला कलमा तेरा हक ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह 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 सिमते नबी को चढ़ गया आका से उसने कहा दर्द नबी बतला जरा मेरी मुट्ठी में है क्या आका का फरमान हुआ और फज़ले रहमान हुआ मुट्ठी से पत्थर बोला क्या क्या इलाहा इल्लल्लाह हस्बी रब्बी जल्लल्लाह आती क़ल्बी गैरुल्लाह मुहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अपनी बहन से बोले उमर ये तो बता क्या करती थी मेरे आने से पहले क्या चुप के पढ़ती थी बहन जब कुरान पढ़ा सुन के कलाम पाक खुदा दिल ये उमर का बोल उठा ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह हस्बी रब्बी जल्लल्लाह फी क़ल्बी गैरुल्लाह मुहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु इल्लल्लाह जो बिलाले हबशी है सरवर भी का प्यारा है दुनिया के हर आशिक की आँखों का तारा है सुल्फ़ों में कितने उन पर सीने पे रखा पत्थर फिर भी लब पे जारी था क्या इलाहा इल्लल्लाह हस्बी रब्बी जल्लल्लाह फी क़ल्बी गैरुल्लाह नूर मुहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि इल्लल्लाह illallah, la ilaha illallah, la mawjuda illallah, la mashhuda illallah, la maqsuda illallah, la ma'buda illallah, la ilaha illallah, la जिसमें चमके ये कलमा ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह, ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह, ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह, ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह। मौला दिल का संग चुरा क़ल्बे नूरे पाए चिरा, दिल को कर दे आईना, make my heart a clear mirror, make my heart a clear mirror, make my heart a clear mirror, which reflects this kalima of la ilaha illallah, 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 la सिखाते हैं सीधी राह वाली अता कर दे, बड़ी जन्नत अता कर दे। नबी मुख्तार कुल है जिसको नबी मुख्तार कुल है जिसको जो चाहे अता कर दे। उनके हाथ में हर अर्जी है, मालिक मुल्क कहलाते हैं। कसर सलात किसकी रसाई जाते ये आते हैं। कह दो रज़ा से खुश हो खुश रह, मुझदारी ज़ाता सुनाते हैं। सच्ची बात सिखाते हैं, सीधी राह चलाते हैं। नो वाला क्यों no one possesses so merciful is your nature and so high is your name. Deen Ujala Mala
Salam
In particular, I'd like to thank the Abbas who prepared this stage for us today. I pray that Allah accepts all the efforts, and I pray that Allah gives them even more blessings and barakah in their risks. I also would like to thank Allama Qamar Raza, our Imam Sahib, for attending, and I'd also like to thank Maulana Arif and Hafiz Faisal and the rest of the people who have attended today. Pray that Allah accepts all of your attendance. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
To all of them on behalf of all of us, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidil mursaleen wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah, there's nothing more delightful and joyous than seeing the upcoming generation, our children, our younger muballighin, younger scholars, taking the stage, mashallah, doing what we have been doing for some time with the grace of all Allah Almighty, alhamdulillah. Indeed, it's a very proud moment for Sunni Dawat Islami, for Masjid Raza, for Nurani Education Center, for the community on the whole, for the parents of all these scholars, and for all of us really, mashallah, as an ummah of the beloved Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us these young scholars, young muballighin, who can take this mission forward, and we can rest assured, alhamdulillah, and it is like coolness of our eyes where we can see that inshallah after we go, the mission of the Prophet ﷺ is going to continue. Can you also imagine that how pleased the Prophet ﷺ will be today? The Prophet ﷺ, 1400 and some years ago, would enlighten people about the arrival of Ramadan. And after 1400 years, his ummatis, the young scholars, mashallah, are doing the same thing. How the mission and how the legacy of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has continued and will continue till the day of judgment. All we are part of that chain. We are all part of that chain, mashallah. So alhamdulillah, everybody has played a great role. And these scholars, alhamdulillah, they have a unique ability. For people like us and others, we can speak and we can't pray now. If we pray now, then you can't speak. And they can do both, mashallah. Allah Ta'ala, you know, Allah Ta'ala give more barakah, and Allah Ta'ala give more blessings. And may they use their talent only and only for the sake of Deen, inshallah, and only to please Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. MashaAllah, sincere du'as for all of them. I know it's not easy to prepare for a program, just one, never mind 5. So they did 5 events, alhamdulillah, and also it's extremely challenging in our busy lives to set up these kind of programs, mashallah. Nowadays the technology and everything that needs to be set up, mashallah, I could see them running to and fro from Bolton, getting up women, dropping them off and so on. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the true efforts, and only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can reward them. और मैं ये भी माशाअल्लाह खुशी जाहिर करूँगा कि हमारे बुजुर्ग, हमारे जो बुजुर्ग हजरात हैं, हमारी माएँ हैं, ये आई हैं not necessarily all of them came to learn. Some of them only came to support, which is also very, very important. कि इनको support की भी बहुत ज़रूरत है, because they are still young, अभी तो छोटे हैं. जब ये तनावर दरख्त बनेंगे तो क्या होगा? When they fully flourish, then you can imagine how good they will be. We pray that they are, inshallah tabarak ta'ala. And this is what Sunni Dawat Islami has done, and the mahol that has been created in our masajid, that these kind of gems are created so that we can pass on the mantle and they can carry the mission forward. So mashallah, jazakallah, and may Allah ta'ala reward all of you who have attended. We only came 1 week. But there are others who came for 5 weeks, mashallah. Our sisters, and I'm mashallah amazed to see their numbers. All the brothers who were here, the children, alhamdulillah. And it's really difficult for sisters to be here. कि माओ बहनों को काम ज़्यादा होता है, mashallah. उनकी ज़िम्मेदारियाँ ज़्यादा होती है. Despite of that, mashallah, they have taken the time to support this program, and they do for all the other programs. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can reward them. तो माशाल्लाह तमाम जितनों ने, और ख़ास तौर पे माशाल्लाह हमारे यहाँ के सीनियर मुबल्लिगीन हाफिज़ चिराग साहब हो, and particularly माशाल्लाह हाफिज़ मकसूद, he has been mentoring them for a long time, and we can see the results now माशाल्लाह. And also the parents of these children माशाल्लाह, these youngsters alhamdulillah, कि उनकी भी बड़ी कुर्बानी है माशाल्लाह. कोई हाफिज़ हैं, कोई मौलाना है, कोई मौलाना बन रहे हैं. So alhamdulillah, it's a great team here, and I can see a very great team over there. Allah tabarak wa ta'ala खूब से खूब बरकतें नसीब फरमाए, और इस तरह के बहुत सारे प्रोग्राम हम करते रहें, और अल्लाह उसके रसूल सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम को राज़ी करते रहें इंशाअल्लाह. हाफिज़ चिराग साहब हैं, मैं उनसे गुजारिश करूँगा कि वो जो है फातिहा पढ़ लें, और उसके बाद हज़रत दुआया कलिमात भी कहेंगे और दुआ भी करेंगे इंशाअल्लाह, और इंशाअल्लाह उसके बाद हाफिज़ फैसल साहब सलात सलाम पढ़ेंगे.
قل يا أيها الكافرون لا أعبد ما أعبد لكم دينكم ولي دين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بصدق إذا وكب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألف لام ميم. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون والذين يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك وبالآخرة هم يوقنون أولئك على هدى من ربهم إن رحمة الله قريب من المحسنين وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين. لقد جاءكم رسول من أنفسكم عزيز عليه ما لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العالمين. وكان الله بكم الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما وسلم.
और माशाल्लाह ये हमारी खुशनसीबी है, और वो इमाम हमारे दरमियान मस्जिद रज़ा में तशरीफ लाए हैं, लेकिन ये हमारी तरफ से चूँकि रिप्रेजेंटेशन का काम है माशाल्लाह. बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम. फातिहा.
اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد معدن الجود والكرم وعليه الكرام وابنه الكريم وبارك وسلم وسلم अल्लाह का सज़ा यहाँ जो कुछ भी महफिल इल्म व अदब का एहतमाम किया गया, महफिल नूर का एहतमाम किया गया, इंसान के बंदे तेरी जो बंदियाँ तेरे महबूब के चाहने वाले तेरे महबूब किसी को कबूल फरमा। या नबी जो कुछ भी यहाँ पढ़ा गया सुना गया उसका सबाब सबसे पहले हम सब सय्यद इंसुजा अरवाहुना फिदा जनाब मुहम्मद रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की बारगाह आज़म तहारत जुमला अहले बैत तहारत रहमतुल्लाह तआला अलैहि मजमईन की रूह पर को पेश अमल कबूल फरमा। शुहदा बदर शुहदा औहाद शुहदा हुनैन शुहदा खंदक बिलखुसूस शुहदा करबला की बारगाह में पेश कबूल फरमा। जुमला ताबईन तबे ताबईन मुज्तहिदीन इल्म मुज्तहिदीन जुमला इल्म इकराम जुमला मशाइख निज़ाम मशाइख क़ादरिया मशाइख रज़बिया मशाइख बरकातिया मशाइख शोहरपर्दिया मशाइख नक्शबंदिया मशाइख बरकातिया मशाइख शाज़िलिया जुमला मशाइख निज़ाम की बारगाह में पेश अमल कबूल फरमा। नबी के वसीले पाक से बिलखुसूस ख्वाजा ख्वाजगान हिंदुस्तान के शहंशाह सैयदना ख्वाजा गरीब नवाज की बारगाह में पेश बयान किया गया जो कुछ सुना गया हम सबको उस पर अमल करने की तौफीक अता फरमा। खुदा सुन्नी दावत इस्लामी के तहत और उसके बैनर तले वाली को मौला इस महफिल का एहतमाम किया गया। परवरदिगार आलम इस तंजीम को मज़ीद उरूज व इर्तिक़ा अता फरमा। परवरदिगार इसके कारकुनान को इसके मुबल्लिगीन को इसके मुल्तज़िमीन मुस्लिमीन और एहतमाम करने वालों को परवरदिगार आलम सलामत फरमा। परवरदिगार आलम बिलखुसूस सुन्नी दावत इस्लामी के अमीर फ़ज़ीलतुश शेख हज़रत अल्लामा शाकिर नूरी साहब क़िबला परवरदिगार उनको लंबी ज़िंदगी अता फरमा। इस तंजीम के कामों को परवरदिगार दुनिया के खित्ते और दुनिया के कोने कोने तक पहुँचा। मौला हुज़ूर मुफ्ती आज़म का फैज़ान लेकर परवरदिगार हुज़ूर आला हज़रत के मिशन को लेकर जहाँ जहाँ जा रहे हैं परवरदिगार लोगों के दिलों को इनके हक़ में कुशादा फरमा। परवरदिगार लोगों के दिलों को इनके हक़ में कुशादा फरमा। परवरदिगार खिदमत को कबूल फरमा। उनको शिफा अता फरमा। जो भी औलाद है उनको औलाद की नेमत अता फरमा। जो साहिब औलाद है उनकी औलाद को उनकी आंखों की ठंडक बना। जिनके वालिदैन दुनिया से मुसलमानों की खैर फरमा। जहाँ जहाँ भी मुसलमान परेशान हाल है चाहे वो फ़िलिस्तीन की ज़मीन हो, सीरिया, इराक़ हो, यमन की ज़मीन हो, कश्मीर और बर्मा की ज़मीन पर परवरदिगार ख़ुसूस हिंदुस्तान के मुसलमानों पर अपना खातिर हमीद के ग़ुलाम है। हमारी ख़ताओं को दरगुज़र फरमा कर हमारे उस माह मुबारक को परवरदिगार ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम पर अमल करने की तौफ़ीक़ अता फरमा। या रसूलल्लाह उन्ज़ुर मालिक मौला जो नौजवान उलमा सुन्नी दावत इस्लामी के ये मुबल्लिगीन परवरदिगार आलम दीन की खिदमत के लिए तेरे प्यारे मुस्तफ़ा सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के इश्क़ का चिराग जलाने के लिए परवरदिगार तेरे कुरान के इलाही सुन्नत मुस्तफ़ा सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम जो लोगों तक पहुँचाने के लिए इस मिशन करने के लिए परवरदिगार आलम एक बहन के लिए दुआ है जो कैंसर में मुब्तला है परवरदिगार उनको शिफा अता फरमा। शिफा कामिला अता फरमा। सेहत आजिला अता फरमा। परवरदिगार आलम तंदुरुस्ती तवानाई अता फरमा। कादरियों में उठा लगी वनूर अर्शिही मुहम्मद व अला आलिहि व अस्हाबिही अजमईन रहमतिका या अरहमर राहिमीन बिहक़्क़ि ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह।
Shine down, you come like a star. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا نور الله. اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وقنا عذاب القبر وقنا عذاب الحشر وقنا حساب الميزان وأدخلنا الجنة الفردوس مع الأبرار يا عزيز يا غفار يا رب العالمين. اللهم اغفر وارحم وأنت خير الراحمين. اللهم أفرغ علينا صبرا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. اللهم استرنا بسترك الجميل. اللهم استرنا بسترك الجميل. اللهم استرنا بسترك الجميل. Oh Allah, bless all those who took part in this massive gathering, especially those who have given in your way, by way of niyaz, and whatever way they have given in your way, oh Allah, and helped to make this program a success. You are Alim al Khabir, you are aware of what they have done. Oh Allah, grant them rewards in this world and the hereafter. Allahumma rabbana taqabbal minna innaka anta as-sami'u al-alim wa tub alayna ya mawlana innaka anta at-tawwabur rahim. Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna 'alan nabi يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى الجود والكرم منبع العلم والحلم والحكم وآله وبارك وسلم. صلوا عليه صلاة وسلام عليك يا رسول الله بفضل سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Jazakallah once again everyone for the attendance. If ladies could go first, I would especially like to thank the soundkeeper today, Muftum Sounds. I pray that Allah gives him new more blessings and barakah. I pray that Allah accepts the efforts. Jazakallah. If ladies could go first, Jazakallah.